What's up guys, my name is Fran and once again welcome back. So I just finished watching the September 12th Apple livestream event. I want to take this time to summarize it in case you guys might have missed it, as well as just give you some of my thoughts and opinions on some of the products that were announced today during the livestream. So I wanted to ask you guys to forgive me in advance for having poor eye contact during this video. I do have a number of notes I'll be referring to, so I want to make sure I don't miss any information. Okay, so Apple announced 4 new products during this livestream event, one being the Apple Watch Series 3, the next being an Apple TV 4K, the following being an iPhone 8, and then finally, where all the buzz is around, the iPhone X or the iPhone 10 as Tim Cook called it on stage. All right, so starting off with the Apple Watch, there were a number of really cool features and functionalities that Apple did announce when it came to the Apple Watch Series 3. But one feature in particular, the only feature that I cared about and the one standout feature was actually the fact that the new Apple Watch Series 3 now has cellular service. Now, this is sort of game-changing and revolutionary. The primary feature that they were showing off was the fact that, of course, now you can take and receive phone calls paired up with the pair of Apple AirPods, as well as the fact that you can now use Apple's live streaming service. Now, for me in particular, these are 2 really cool features. I am currently an Apple Watch user, and I only use this really to check text messages, and that's about it, and sometimes a heart rate monitor. But this will actually make me use an Apple Watch for a number of other reasons. And another really cool feature, of course, that you would expect with having cellular services, now you can leave your phone in places where you might be in a situation where you wouldn't carry it. Now, Apple used the example as if you were going to the pool or to the beach. That's a great example, leaving your valuables in the car or in your hotel room, and then being able to go ahead and be free and not have to carry around your phone. As well as for a lot of people who work out and who do carry their phones as well as their Apple Watch to track things, this is just one device they no longer have to carry. I think that's pretty awesome. For me personally, I will be picking up the brand new Apple Watch. The next device that they spoke about was actually the brand new Apple TV 4K. Now, this particular device, I mean, we've seen Apple TVs for years. The last generation of Apple TV is absolutely great. This is basically just bringing the 4K resolution to that particular ecosystem. Now, they did improve the actual processor. They're boasting an A10X processor, which they're boasting is supposedly 4 times faster GPU than the previous generation. I'm not really an Apple TV gamer or iOS gamer at that fact, but it is really cool to see that they are making generational leaps when it comes to their technology. One really cool functionality of this, or something they announced, actually didn't have to do with the actual Apple TV itself, but what they did mention is that if you own any content in standard definition from before they did a 4K release, you now will have that same exact copy of media in 4K, and I think that's pretty cool, and that's obviously if the media is available in 4K. Other than that, I really feel like they made a mistake by releasing this Apple TV 4K now. They should have either held off on the previous generation and had people only pick this one up, because now you're going to have a bunch of angry customers. But, whatever, it's the Apple way. That's sort of what they do. But, all right, so moving right along to probably one of the most disappointing announcements of the entire keynote is actually the iPhone 8. Now, for me in particular, I actually thought this was it. I started freaking out when I didn't see a brand new redesign. The iPhone 8 itself looks exactly like the iPhone 7, iPhone 6s, and iPhone 6. Obviously, it does have the dual camera technology. They are boasting a brand new processor. I believe it's the A11 Bionic processor. That techno mumbo jumbo portion of it I do not fully understand, but it is a 6-core 64-bit processor. They mentioned on stage that it had 2 high performance cores with 2 high efficiency cores, but that doesn't equal 6. I feel like that might have been a typo. I'll leave the right information here on the screen if I can get it while I'm editing this video, but that's sort of a little bit about the processor. They did a lot of improvements when it comes to the cameras. One thing that they heavily focused on was augmented reality, but one thing that I picked up on was actually the fact that the new cameras now shoot 4K 60 FPS. Now, as a videographer and a filmmaker, I think that's absolutely amazing, right? Higher frame rates, especially in 4K, allow you to slow things down. And while 60 isn't 120 or 240, you can do a lot with 60 when it comes to slow motion in 4K. I'll be pretty excited to go ahead and play around with that. I also mentioned that the new camera does do 1080p at 240 frames per second, so that's also pretty exciting. Like I mentioned before, they seem to be doing a big push for augmented reality as well with these cameras. So they showed off a couple of developers, as well as application developers, as well as game developers, that were showing off augmented reality technology. So some things we've seen before, but basically with these cameras, it actually seems like the devices or the applications will make a virtual item seem more placed in the space instead of floating and sort of guesstimating. So it'll be pretty exciting to see that. Another feature that they mentioned when it comes to the camera, aside from improving the whole depth of field effect or the fake bokeh, or that's what I like to call it, the fake bokeh. But when you have a blurry background in a video kind of, or photo kind of similar to what you're seeing right now, that would be a fast aperture effect. and they've improved that. But they also added something called, I don't remember the feature because it kind of upset me a little bit, but it was faux lighting. So basically it gives you the ability to light someone's face artificially using software, and then making it look like you're allowed to manipulate these different lighting instances with the slider. So, you know, pretty, again, more as an enthusiast, I don't really like it, but I feel like for just an average user, this is going to be great. It's going to be some really cool picture features that will add to the value of owning an iPhone. Now, all three of these products, the Apple Watch, the Apple TV, as well as the iPhone 8 at least, will all be releasing, well, at least the pre-orders will go on pre-order for September 15th, and the release dates will all be September 22nd. I'll leave the prices here on the screens for each one of the devices, or maybe you guys might have seen them in some of the B-roll that are up on here. But basically, I know at least with the new iPhone, it starts off at $699 for the 7 and $799 for the 7 Plus, and those would be the lowest model, which would be the 64 gigabyte models. And finally, moving on to probably the most buzz piece, the actual iPhone X or the iPhone 10. Now, the iPhone 10, we've seen a lot of rumors about this, and it seems like pretty much all the rumors were true. It seems like Apple can't keep a lid on some of their rumors nowadays. But the phone does, in fact, feature edge-to-edge glass. We've seen this in a couple of the Samsung Galaxy phones, and it's absolutely beautiful. It looks really great. It's dust and water resistant. It comes in a number of colors, space gray and silver. Well, those are two. Sorry, and something I didn't mention, the previous iPhone comes in space gray, silver, and pink as well. But this particular iPhone does come in two colors, space gray and silver. It also features a brand new Super Retina screen. So that is going to be a resolution of 2436 by 1125 is what I have here in my notes. Now, I'll correct myself if I'm wrong here on the screen, but that's a pretty odd resolution. I'm pretty sure that's because of the whole cutout. It's not quite Quad HD, but it seems like it's almost there. Quad HD would be 2550 by 1440. So it seems like it's right under Quad HD, which I think is okay. I even think the 1080p display on the current generation iPhone is plenty good enough for a screen that small. I don't really care about a 4K screen on that. But it is OLED and HDR. So OLED is going to give you better battery life, and also the colors are going to really pop, and it's going to look great. So it's going to be pretty exciting to see this particular phone in person and see how vibrant and amazing the colors are on this phone. Now, of course, I spent a lot of time talking about the next things I want to talk about. And basically, of course, with the idea of adding an edge-to-edge glass around the phone, you are now losing out on the famous home button with Touch ID. So, of course, the first thing they wanted to make sure the crowd understood is that there still are ways to unlock and open your phone. So they showed off tapping to wake your phone. They also showed off swiping up as your home button. So basically, swiping up is now your home button. Doing that motion will bring you back to your home. And honestly, it looked really bad. It didn't function really well when they were doing the demo, but we'll talk a little bit about that at the very end of this video. Another thing that they sort of, went over, obviously, now that Touch ID is gone, how is it that you'll unlock your phone easily? So now what they've introduced is something called Face ID, which would be facial recognition. Now, we've seen this in other Android phones. Once again, this isn't anything new. Apple is just claiming that they've done it the best. There's a number of sensors that are in the front of the phone that apparently are going to be able to capture your face or know that you're, look at your face. So there was things like radar and obviously the regular camera, and then a bunch of these other, a bunch of other features in this camera, and they're claiming that it doesn't matter if it's day or night, as long as you're looking at the phone, it'll be able to unlock. Now, I'm a big skeptic of this, primarily because I spend a lot of time playing with Snapchat cameras, a number of things, and just being a brown-skinned person, honestly, when it comes to low-light situations, I don't think that's actually going to work out. It even failed on the actual stage when they were trying to do a demo. I'd be pretty surprised, and I can't wait to actually get the phone in my hands and really test it out. But I'm a big skeptic when it comes to Face ID. They made it seem like it works extremely well. I don't believe them. I feel like it's going to fail horribly. I feel like that maybe the next generation might be a lot better. They'll add something to it, but I feel like there's going to be a major problem. They're claiming that the Face ID can learn if you have facial hair, if you shave your facial hair off, if you put on a hat, if you put on glasses, it can still recognize your face. But another thing that I was a little bit concerned with also, or something that they mentioned, was where are these pictures, where's this Touch ID going, how's it being verified? So they're claiming it's not going into any servers. Similar to Touch ID, it's all done on chip, and they're saying that this is the world's very first in-your-pocket neural engine. Now, again, it's supposed to be learning. It's supposed to be smart. They said it can be unlocked by an evil twin, and they're claiming that the ability. They're also claiming that it cannot be fooled by a picture, and that's one of the downfalls that we saw when it came to the actual Android phone. You were able to unlock it with the picture, so it'd be pretty interesting to get my hands on one of these phones. I cannot wait, because I'm going to test the crap out of it and really find out how good this Face ID is. They're also claiming that applications that already use Touch ID will automatically integrate Face ID. So, any app, like, for me in particular, I think of my banking applications, or Dropbox, you're able to use those Touch ID features that will translate over here. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but the new iPhones, the backs are all made of glass, and the reason why they did that is so they can introduce wireless charging to the ecosystem. Now, that's really great. We've seen wireless charging, again, in Android phones for years, and finally, the iPhone is receiving this. We're probably going to see a bigger adoption of it because the iPhone now has it, so we're going to probably see it in coffee shops and airports, and they showed off all these examples and screens, and I feel like we're really going to see a lot of that. I mean, it'll be really useful for me between, like, on my desk at work or my, my table at home, seeing this wireless charging in action and no longer having to sit there, plug something in and, adjust a little bit. It's going to be really cool, and I'm actually really excited about the whole wireless charging functionality of the brand new phones. All right, but I might cut myself short during this video just because I might start rambling. But anyway, guys, what do you think about the brand new iPhone X or the brand new iPhone 10? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, right down there, if you like this video, slam on the like button. And if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, go ahead and get subscribed. Once again, my name is Fran. Thanks so much for checking out this video, and I will see you guys in my next one.